Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We know you want to stay informed efficiently. So today, we're digging into the reports around South African President Ramaphosa's trip to Washington, D.C. He's set to meet with U.S. President Trump.
That's right. And we're working from a news report by Shiri Maria. It's dated May 20th, 2025. Our mission here is basically to pull out the key facts, understand what's really going on with this high-level meeting.
Okay, let's jump in. So Ramaphosa actually arrived in Washington on Monday. That's May 19th.
Correct. Landed Monday. The actual meeting with President Trump, that's scheduled for Wednesday, the 21st.
And it sounds like he didn't wait long to set a certain tone.
No, not at all. He was at the South African Embassy in Washington. Apparently, he was getting a briefing from his ministers there, too. And he made a point of saying quite firmly that South Africa's sovereignty is, secure, it'll remain intact, and that his actions would always prioritize the country's best interests.
Wow, okay. That's quite a strong statement right out of the gate, isn't it? What do you make of that?
Well, I think it probably shows an awareness of the complexities, between these two countries. They have different interests, obviously. Maybe it's also about reassuring people back home in South Africa.
Yeah, that makes sense. Laying down a marker.
Exactly. Yeah. Talking about sovereignty up front like that, it often sets a firm baseline before you get into potentially tricky discussions.
Okay, and the report also mentions the South African government sees this whole thing as a chance to reset relations.
Yes, reset. That's the term they're apparently using.
That word itself, reset,
yeah.
It suggests maybe things haven't been perfectly smooth, right? A desire for a change.
Precisely. Yeah, using reset usually implies there's been some tension or maybe priorities have shifted for one side or both. Now, this report doesn't give specifics on why the reset is needed. Could be trade, could be global politics alignment, maybe old disagreements. But just the fact they want a reset, that tells you this is seen as a pretty significant moment in the U.S.-South Africa relationship.
And here's where it gets quite interesting, I think. The South African team, the delegation, they're being super discreet.
Tight-lipped.
Yeah, like sharing almost nothing with the press. The report suggests the plan is to reveal whatever they're planning directly in the Oval Office.
Right, not before.
Keeping everything under wraps until they're literally face-to-face with Trump. I mean, that feels like a very deliberate, maybe even bold strategy.
Oh, absolutely. It's a classic diplomatic tactic, really. By keeping quiet, they hold on to their leverage for the actual talks. They control the story. And, they stop any outside noise or potential opposition from messing things up before they even sit down.
Prevents pre-negotiation speculation.
Exactly. You lay your cards down only when you're in the table. It allows for a more focused negotiation away from the public eye.
So the key players are clear. Presidents Ramaphosa and Trump. Ramaphosa's initial base is the embassy, getting prepped, leading up to the big meeting at the Oval Office.
It all paints a picture of a very carefully managed approach. They've got an agenda, and they're holding it very close.
Right. So you've got the emphasis on sovereignty first, then the stated goal to reset things.
Yep.
And this incredibly controlled information flow, it all points to South Africa coming in with a very clear set of objectives for this Trump meeting.
It certainly seems that way, a focused approach.
Okay, so that lays out the immediate situation pretty clearly. We see the groundwork.
Yeah.
But it does leave you wondering, doesn't it? What are the bigger forces at play here?
Exactly.
Why the desire for a reset now? What wider geopolitical stuff might be pushing South Africa in this direction at this specific time?
And that's really the question to mull over, isn't it? Think about that complex dance of international diplomacy, all the strategic calculations behind these big meetings. What kind of reset could South Africa realistically be aiming for? And what things, economic pressures, political shifts, maybe social factors could end up deciding if these talks are successful? It's a fascinating look into how global relations work.